Have you built wealth, but you feel like work no longer has meaning? Do you wake up thinking more about the future than the present today? Have you built some amazing spreadsheets, but your soul feels restless? Hi, I'm Nick Yeomans. We're going to have an important conversation today. We're going to talk about the 3 reasons maybe you should retire now. Here's the 3 signs we're going to talk about today that might indicate you're ready for retirement. Number 1, we're going to talk about your health and vitality life. Are there things in your life today that are saying, it's time? Number 2, we're going to talk about financial readiness. How do you know you're ready and your money can match your purpose? And then lastly, we are going to talk about the emotional and purposeful life of retiring from something versus retiring to something. So it's an important conversation. Thanks for tuning in, and let's go. I want to tell you the story of Mark. Mark is one of our clients that, had a really accomplished career. Did really well for himself. Mark had climbed the corporate ladder. He raised 2 beautiful children, and he and his wife have been married for about 35 years. They are thriving in so many areas except for really one. You see, Mark had slowed down a lot. And not just a little bit, but we're talking always tired, dragging, really struggling to get out of bed. That had never been a thing for Mark. He was an early riser. Instead of a sunset person, he was a sunrise person. But really, it was one doctor's appointment that changed everything. You see, he has a meeting with his primary care physician, and they're going over his labs, and they're going over his blood pressure. And basically, the doctor said, either you're going to go early and retire, or you're going to go early and not wake up. It's time to make a decision. Mark needed that confirmation. His body was already telling him it was time to retire. But that confirmation from his doctor gave him even more confidence that it was the right decision for himself and hopefully his wife, children, and future grandchildren. We can always make more money, but you'll never make more time. What are we doing with our time? It's really important for us to consider that. So many financial gurus out there want to coach you up and talk to you about portfolios and growth and savings and taxes, and those are all really important things. But let me tell you something. If you don't have your health, you don't have wealth. We have to really start with our health. We have to start with vitality, and sometimes our health is telling us it's time. Now, of course, our health, our passion, our purpose, those are really important components. But we have to have the right financial foundation. So financial readiness is really, really important. And unfortunately, many retirees have underestimated what that really needs to look like. So I want to go ahead and start thinking with you. What do we need to have on the board that we could check off the list? We did it, we're prepared. Number 1, do we know where our retirement income is going to come from? Do we understand where those paychecks are coming from? We need to know that, right? Do we have a Social Security strategy? Do we know what taxes look like in retirement? Huge misnomer. So many people think that they're going to end up with a smaller tax bill in retirement, but really, they end up about the same. You lose certain deductions and write-offs, credits, etc. So we have to be ready there. And then lastly, do we have that pool of money, that seed capital that can allow us to travel with our friends when they get a last-minute deal on a cruise? Do we have that money available so that we can travel and see that grandson or granddaughter playing travel ball all over the Southeast? I've had a client, and they actually took part of their seed money, so to speak, and they bought an RV because it was travel season. They knew they were going to be in travel season with 6 grandkids all playing ball, and they wanted to turn it into an adventure. So we want to be financially ready. And that all starts with education and understanding. That's what gives us confidence to be able to move into retirement knowing our checking account, our savings account, they're not going to go bare. We know where that income's coming in, and we know at the end of the day, when the little tax guy comes knocking on April 15th, we're prepared. Now, let's talk about the emotional and purposeful readiness. Moving from the quantitative part of your life to the qualitative part of your life. We're financially ready now. We understand our health. Now let's talk about purpose, passion, calling, retiring to something, not from something. We need to have in our mind, what is it we really want to enjoy doing? You've mastered your career. You mastered making money. Now it's time to master enjoyment, fulfillment, purpose. And I invite you, especially if you're a married couple, this is a really great conversation, maybe over a glass of wine. What is it that you could see yourself or maybe even your spouse doing in those next years ahead of you? What is that thing that's tugging at you that maybe this is your calling or your ministry and you want to step into it? So many of us have focused on so many things, but maybe the relationship part of our life suffered a little bit. If you're like many men, many of your friendships and a lot of your ego and validation came from your work. When that goes away, are you prepared from a relationship standpoint? I actually have a guys' fight night. We don't fight each other, but we get together and we enjoy watching combative, martial arts and UFC and those types of things. And I belong to another group of guys, and we get together and we watch action movies on a monthly basis. And I've formed these circles, these relationships. And while I'm not retirement age by the traditional sense, I'm always trying to retire from the things that are keeping me from calling, purpose, passion, and in this instance, relationships. Relationship parts of our life in retirement are so important and yet so misunderstood. So I want to encourage you, if you're watching and you're tuning in right now, don't mistake this as being a small piece of retirement. It's such a critical piece. We need each other. We are communal, and relationships, if we don't have that, then we're missing out. Life can be a lot better when we're doing it together. As we think about the 3 signs of maybe you should retire now: health, vitality, financial readiness, emotional and purposeful readiness. We think about those 3 things, and they're so important. But I want you to think about this. If you were retired today, what would fill your calendar? If you struggle with that, what would fill your soul? I think that's an important question. Retirement should be a continuation of your calling. It's not the cancellation of it. I want you to be ready, and I want you to think about the 3 things we've talked about today. If you're feeling one of these signs, maybe it's risen up like this episode. It's really kind of moved you in a certain way of maybe thinking differently because maybe you didn't think you were ready to retire, but something resonated. Don't operate out of fear. Don't operate out of worry or doubt. Get understanding and work with somebody who might be able to help you. We're your retirement coach. We coach people in this journey. Find yourself a coach. Find yourself a guide. Find somebody who can walk hand in hand with you to help make these really important decisions.